right, so in this particular lecture, you are going to be learning Python list, and we'll look at how you can be able to play around with Python list, and as it's going to be helpful for you during your backend development. So the first thing is I'm going to quickly go ahead to create a new file. So I'll just go ahead to create a new file. So the file will be a Python file. So I'll say Python underscore this. All right, so I have created my Python list. The next thing I want to do is to create my Python list. So I'm going to say Python, or I'll just say list underscore, or I can just say my list. Okay, equals to, so for declaring list, you use square bracket. So I'll say mango. And then next thing I'm going to say is, um, let's say orange. Then the next thing? Pineapple. Next thing, next thing I'm going to say. So let me just say the last one. Um, so I'll just say cassava. Okay. So I'm going to quickly print out this, my list. So then I'll run the program. So this is my list. So next thing we are going to do is to see how to change list item. So quickly, next thing, so I'm going to write my Python comment how to change this item, right? So how do I change my list item? I can just say my list, and then I'll specify the destination. So I want to change the item in 0, that's the index 0. Then I'll say equals to, and I'll say watermelon. So I want to change the item there and replace it with another one. So I come here, and then the print value will be my list. Then when I run this program now, you can see that it has replaced, watermelon has replaced mango. So how to add, the next thing we are going to look at is how do I add items to my list. So when you want to add item, next is how to add items to the list. So how to add item to your list, you use the function called append. So you use the function called append. Append, right? So now I'm going to append a new object to this particular list that I have created. So it's going to be my list dot append. So what other fruit can we use? So I can say cover. Okay, so now then I'll go ahead to print my list. So I'll run my program. So you can see guava has been added to my Python list. So how do we remove items in Python? Python list. So next is how to remove items in Python list. How to remove item in Python list. So you can, in order to remove item from Python list, so you use the remove function. So you make use of, remove function. So remove function. So so the remove function is basically stated like this. So now I want to remove, let me see, orange from this list. So how do I go about it? So I'll say my list, right? Dot remove orange. So then I can now say print my list, right? So by the time I say print my list and then I run this program, so you can see that orange has been removed from my list. So that is how to remove um that's how to remove your a particular item from your list. So the next thing we want to look at is how to be able to look through a list. So next thing we'll look at is how to look through a list. So you can save for X, and for me, I can save for fruits. So for fruits in list, for fruit in my list, right? I'll now say print. I'll now say print fruits. So and then I'll run the program. So it has looped through my Python. That's the list. It has looped through the list. So that is how you can be able to loop through the list. So in Python, how do you check the total length of the total items that are in your list? So you can use the len function. So how to check the length of items in Python. Length of items in Python. So you use the len function to change items in your Python. So how do you go about this? So you just say print, for instance. So len bracket open and close. Then you now see my list. So you run this. So this will give you, so you have total number of 4 items that are in your list. So that is how you can loop through your list. So next thing we are going to look at is list comprehension. So next thing we are going to look at is list comprehension, right? So let's look at what list comprehension. So list comprehension offer a shorter syntax when you want to create a new list based on the values of an existing list. So how can you be able to go about that? So for instance, now I have already gotten I've gotten this list that is here, but my list, right? So now I want to create a new one. So I can go ahead to say new list, new underscore list, right, equals to this guy. Then I can go ahead to say for for fruits, for fruits in my for fruits in my list. Okay, for fruit in my list. For fruits in my list. If A, if A in fruits, okay. If A in fruits, then I will now say if A in fruit, then I'll now say new list, new underscore list, new list dot append fruit. Okay, then I can now come here, say print new list. Okay, so I can now come here and say print new list. So I'll run my program. So my program, you can see what this basically has done is that any of the item that contains A, so that item was to be printed. That's why you have these numbers. So, but if I add ES and then I rerun the program, so you see it's only cassava that is having ES. So it's only cassava that was printed. Then that's basically what list comprehension is all about. So this is basically what list is all about, and if there is any need for you to know more about it, you can always send your questions. But for the purpose of the backend development, this very explanation will be enough for us to be able to further with our course. So I'll see you in the next class.